Hello everyone, it's Tracy here, back with another card. Today I'm starting with a Spellbinders circle die and a piece of Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock. And I'm just placing that where I want it to go, and then I'll put a piece of washi tape over that to keep it in place while I run that right through my Cuttlebug. I'm going to die cut that circle out, and then that is going to be my background. And I'm going to do a little bit of watercoloring and water resist with Distress inks. So I'll go ahead and remove that out of my cutting plates. And then I'm not using the inside circle, so you could always use that for another card. The stamp set that I'm going to be using for this card is Zoo Crew from Paper Smooches. And I'm going to stamp the heart. It's kind of like a zebra heart. And I'm going to stamp that with my Versamark ink, and I'm just randomly going to stamp it around on that background. I'm going to heat emboss that with white, and then that way when I watercolor over it, those hearts will show up in white because the embossing will resist the watercolor. So I'm just stamping those all over, and then once I finish that and get them where I like them, I am going to put my Hero Arts white embossing powder all over them. And then if you missed some spots, you can always go back in and stamp some more and then add embossing powder. So you don't have to stamp all of them first because sometimes it is difficult to see where you have already stamped them. So I would suggest just putting your embossing powder over it and then going back and stamping in some more. And then I heated that, so I melted all that embossing powder with my heat tool. So now I'm using two colors of Distress inks. I have the Abandoned Coral and the Spun Sugar, and I'm just putting those onto my nonstick craft sheet and then spritzing each one of them with a little bit of water. And then I'm also spritzing some just plain water on the side. So I'm going to go ahead with my water brush and wet the entire surface with the water, just plain water. I am not going to the edges though of either of these inside circle or the outside edge of the cardstock. This way my watercolor will kind of stay within that area, and I just think it flows better when you do that and the colors blend together a little bit better. So that's why I put some water on there first, but you definitely don't have to. And then I pick up the color with my water brush and just kind of place that in, and you can see how the water that's already on there helps it to flow a little bit better and isn't splotchy or anything like that. So I'm just alternating colors and kind of blending them together. And I want the two distinct colors to kind of show up on there, but then some areas will be blended together. So I'm just adding that color in there. You could also add other colors if you want, but I liked the pinks with the hearts on the background. And then once I finished that, I went ahead and heated that with my heat tool so that it was completely dry. You could also just let it air dry if you have the patience. So the image I'm using is from the same Zoo Crew stamp set that the heart's from, and I'm stamping the zebra. And I liked that the heart also had the zebra print in it so that it matched that zebra image. And I'm just stamping this with my Tuxedo Black Memento ink on a piece of Coordinations 110-pound cardstock. And there's nothing really to color in here because the zebra is obviously black and white, so I just went ahead and fussy cut that out. To the back of my circle, I'm just adding a piece of black cardstock, and I just cut that down so that it would fit over the circle but not stick out the edges of my white cardstock. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere that entire piece down to a white A2 size card base. I just took a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and cut it in half the long way and then folded it so it's a top folding card. So I'm going to place the zebra down where I am going to adhere it, and I'm going to adhere it with foam squares. So before I do that, I'm going to stamp the sentiment just so that the zebra doesn't get in the way with the foam squares. I'm using this stamp set from W+9. It's the Fresh Picked Florals, and the stamp I chose says I miss you. I thought that was kind of perfect with the hearts in the background and everything, since I didn't really want it to be a love or Valentine's Day card. So I'm stamping that with my Hero Arts Unicorn White ink. You could also heat emboss this if you wanted the white to really show up. And then I'm adhering the zebra down with the small 3D foam squares from Best Creation. So I'll just cover the back of that with the little foam squares and then peel all of the backings off from that. And then I can go ahead and adhere that down where I had it placed before. And then, like I said, I'm going to color in the zebra's ear with the RV11 Copic marker. So there's just a little bit of Copic coloring on this card, but you could use any coloring medium for that, even the Distress inks. And then I'm going to take this Studio Calico Heartwood veneer and adhere that down with some Tombow Mono Multi Glue. And then I'm going to go ahead and cover that with some liquid pearls. This is the Rouge color, which is kind of like the abandoned coral. It's a corally red color, but I just really like the way that it looks. So I'm covering that entire heart with it, and you just want to smooth it out. And then you're going to want to let that dry completely before you give this to the recipient or send it in the mail. And it does take a little bit longer than other mediums to dry. And then that is my finished card for today, so thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I will see you guys back here next time. Bye!